So we've been talking throughout the show about the role the media has played, the role social media has played, and kind of the shifting view of many on the right about what should be done specifically with social media. What do you make of this moving forward? If the Republicans don't prevail tonight, and if they're staring at 4 more years of a Joe Biden presidency or 4 new years of a Joe Biden presidency, should there be calls for serious reform on social media? What should those look like? And what do you think would be the conservative position with where things stand now?
So the proposal that's been put forward by Marsha Blackburn, which is to look at Section 230. And Section 230, contrary to popular opinion, does not actually distinguish between publisher and platform. It simply says that any open thread has to be treated as though the person who is in charge of the open thread is not responsible for the content therein, right? So that we're not responsible at Daily Wire for the comments section under Section 230, even if we curate the comment section. The Section 230 essentially says that you can moderate comments for purposes of obscenity, or you can do it for purposes of harassment. And then there's a catch-all phrase, or anything otherwise objectionable. What Marsha Blackburn has promoted and Josh Hawley has promoted is getting rid of the otherwise objectionable standard and basically saying you can moderate for pornography, you can moderate for harassment, you can moderate for a wide variety of things, but you cannot moderate for simple political disagreement without taking on the burdens of any other publisher, right? Because now your editing is tantamount to me editing the Daily Wire. I'm approving what is going up and down on the Daily Wire if I were the active editor. I'm editor emeritus, so right now it's John Bickley, obviously, as editor-in-chief. So that's a change that I think is worth considering. And frankly, I think that many of the folks in social media would not be particularly unhappy at that change. That sort of moderate change, that sort of mild change, is not what Democrats are looking for. And this is what scares me, is that if Democrats were to gain office, they would not be looking at cutting around the edges and making some sort of bipartisan deal that basically frees up people to speak more. Democrats are looking to have people speak less. That entire Facebook social media hearing that we saw, Facebook, Twitter, and Google and YouTube, that social media hearing was plagued by Republicans saying, we want to see more speech on your platforms, and Democrats saying, we want to see far less speech on your platforms. Ed Markey was chiding Zuckerberg and Dorsey for allowing too much material on their platforms. You saw the same thing from the senator from Delaware, I believe. Mm-hmm. So you see this, or Chris Murphy from Connecticut. You see this over and over from Democrats, is that they're actually pushing hard against more free speech on these platforms. So if Democrats take over the White House and take over the Senate, I think what you are very likely to see is social media restricted with an oversight board run by somebody like Elizabeth Warren. Now, that should scare the living hell out of Republicans. It's one of the reasons why I've been pretty libertarian on this stuff. And if you are going to nibble around the edges of Section 230, you have to be nibbling around the edges of 230. You can't turn the social media sphere over to the predations of a government-run board, which very often will be staffed by Democrats.
Well, Ben, we really appreciate you being here, and we will be seeing you a little later along with the rest of the Daily Wire team. Thanks for making time.
Thanks so much.